Hiring someone isn't just about filling an empty chair. It's one of the highest stakes decisions any organization can possibly make. Get it right, you accelerate growth. Get it wrong, well, the costs can be absolutely enormous. So today, we're going to build the ultimate strategic hiring playbook. Okay, let's dive right in. This quote right here, it just nails it. We're not just talking about a good hire. We're talking about a transformational one. Especially for senior roles, the right person can literally redefine a company's entire future. But the real challenge is, how do you find that person? It's not about luck. It's about having a deliberate, strategic process.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll talk about laying the foundation, getting the basics right before you do anything else. Then, we'll dive into the actual search for talent. After that, we'll cover how you get from a long list of candidates to your final choice. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by showing you how to build a powerful hiring engine.
Okay, first things first. You would never build a house on a shaky foundation, right? The exact same thing is true for hiring. The most critical work actually happens before you even think about looking at a single resume. It all starts with 3 non-negotiable steps. First, you have to confirm the need. Is this vacancy even real? Sometimes a simple restructuring can solve the problem without a costly hire. Second, you craft the job description. And listen, this isn't just a list of tasks. Think of it as your marketing document designed to attract the perfect person. And third, you form your committee. A diverse group here is your best defense against bias, making sure the decision is truly objective. Nail these 3, and I promise you, the rest of the process becomes so much easier. So, with our foundation firmly in place, it's time to start the search. This is where we shift gears from planning to actively hunting for the best possible candidates out there. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You've defined exactly what you need, but where are these people hiding? Broadly speaking, you've got 2 core plays in your playbook. You can either search for them yourself using some powerful in-house tools, or you can bring in the outside experts for those really high-stakes roles. So let's start with the in-house hunt. One of the most powerful, and I mean powerful tools a recruiter has, is something called a Boolean search. And no, this isn't some fancy new tech. This logic was actually developed by a mathematician named George Boole way back in the 19th century. And it's the engine running under the hood of pretty much every database you use, from Google to LinkedIn. These 3 simple words give you almost surgical control over your search and narrows your focus, right? Like you need a software engineer who also knows Python, or broadens your net so you can catch similar roles, like a UX designer or a product designer. And not is your secret weapon to filter out the noise. You want a project manager, but not an IT project manager. Mastering these transforms your search from a hopeful guess into a targeted strike. Now, a Boolean search is fantastic for most roles. It really is. But sometimes the stakes are just too high. When you're hiring for the C-suite, a key leadership position, or maybe a role that's highly confidential, you often need to call in the specialists. And this brings us to our second play, retained executive search. Now, this isn't just hiring a recruiter, it is forming a deep strategic partnership. You pay a firm a retainer, usually a percentage of that executive's first-year compensation, to run an exhaustive, high-touch, all-out search. This is the play you run for the roles where you absolutely, positively cannot afford to get it wrong. And if you're wondering just how critical this industry is, check this out. According to data from Hunt Scanlon Media, the top 50 firms in the U.S. alone generated $6.6 billion in revenue last year. This isn't some tiny niche service. It's a massive industry that is completely dedicated to finding top-tier leadership talent. And the market has specialists for pretty much every need you can imagine. You've got global giants like Korn Ferry for these huge data-driven searches. You've got Spencer Stuart, which is renowned for board appointments. And then you have modern players like True, who really focus on the tech world. But the real value here, the reason companies make this huge investment, it's twofold: access and objectivity. These firms can reach incredible performers who aren't even looking for a new job, and they provide an unbiased outside view that is just critical when you can't afford to miss. All right, so whether you found your candidates with a Boolean search or with an executive search partner, you now have a pool of qualified talent. This next phase is all about making the right choice, and that requires a structured, fair, and really insightful selection process. Think of it like a funnel. You start by screening all the applications you get against that job description we created. That gives you a long list of about 5 to 10 people. From there, you do short listing calls, quick 15 to 30-minute chats to help you zero in on the top 3 to 5 for formal interviews. The interviews themselves, they've got to be structured with behavior-based questions to see what people have actually done. And finally, you do post-interview checks on your top choice to make sure everything adds up. And speaking of those final checks, here is a non-negotiable rule. You have to speak with a minimum of two, count them, two supervisory referees. So why supervisors? Well, colleagues can tell you what someone's like to work with, sure, but only a former manager can give you a credible, honest picture of their actual performance and results. It's a game changer.
Okay, you've made your decision. Now for the final step, the offer itself. It usually starts with a verbal conversation covering all the key details. But be careful. A verbal offer can actually be legally binding, and if there's a background check involved, you must make the offer conditional on it passing. And no matter what, you always follow up with a formal written offer letter to make everything official.
So we've gone all the way from defining the need to making the offer. Now let's pull all these pieces together and see what our complete modern recruiting playbook really looks like in action. So what are the key takeaways here? First, build your blueprint. A great hire always starts with a clear needs assessment and a precise job description. Second, master the in-house hunt. For most of your roles, learning to use tools like Boolean search will let you find amazing people on your own. Third, know when to call in the pros. For those transformational, can't-miss leadership roles, partnering with an executive search firm is a smart, strategic investment. And finally, run a fair and structured process from start to finish. This combo, a solid foundation, tactical skills, and strategic partnerships, is what creates a truly effective hiring engine. By blending a strong internal process with the speed and precision of modern tools and partners, you can transform hiring from this reactive chore into a proactive, strategic advantage. So the real question to leave you with is this. Now that you have the playbook, what's it going to take to make your hiring engine truly unstoppable?